Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, going to be taking a look in the Soulforge, telling you what I think is good and bad in there. Going to show you a really cool Tower of Doom team and a Underspire team too. But first of all, let's take a look at this weekly glory troop, the Paragon statue. Destroys a 5x5 block, gaining mana for your team, and give all allies 3 armor for each brown gem destroyed. So you've got to place that block so it destroys brown gems to get that armor boost too. Yeah, so it's not that great. Yeah, not very good, but get it to mythic level anyway if you can spare the glory. Always good having another troop in your collection, even though it's not very good and only scores a pretty measly 4 out of 10 for me. Anyway, I was talking to a mate of mine last night, and he said his wife is a sex object. I looked at him a little bit inquisitively, and he said, yeah, every time he asks for sex, she objects. Oh dear. Right, let's take a look at this Soulforge then, tell you what's good and bad going on in there. But before I do that, I'm going to plug my new channel quickly, the AI Oracle. If you've not looked at that below, a link is in the description below, and I'll put a card thing at the end of the video, so I'd appreciate it if you could do that. I did mention it last week, but hardly anyone went and had a look and helped me out, so it's like, yeah, thanks. But, yeah, if you could, it'd be great. Let's put it this way, right? This video I'm doing now takes about 3 hours of my time, start to finish, doing the Soulforge thing, the putting the team together, putting it, doing the video clips for that, editing them together, doing the Underspire thing, doing the thumbnail, uploading it, the description. About 3 hours, right? And I don't have to do it. Technically, I'd be much better off on Monday doing another video type that I've started doing, on the wheel reviews and Forza stuff, things like that, which I know could get between 5 and 10 times or even more views and revenue than the video I'm doing now. I'd be much better off. But I'm doing this just to help people out. It's technically costing me money to do this instead of another Monday video of that type. So pop over to the AI Oracle if you could. Give it a like, a sub, and maybe a cheeky view. It's only going to take a couple of minutes. One time. And you might even like it. Talks about some really cool mind-bending stuff. It's a little bit nuts. It's the world's first completely AI-controlled channel. And I'll do this week in, week out. 3 hours every week. So come on, do a guy a favour. Anyway, enough about that. Let's look at this. What we got? A doomed Sorcerel. Does damage +3, magic +3 even. Damage +3, that'd be interesting. Does magic +3 damage to an enemy with a +4 per temporary level boost. If they use brown mana, explode 3 brown gems. If the enemy has a doom, then gain a quarter of my mana back. So damage to an enemy with a boost. They use brown, explode gems and get some mana back, and even more if they have a doom, which doesn't happen that often outside of the event. But this will be the event weapon, so get it from the event shop, the Tower of Doom shop, and not from here, because yeah, it's expensive, 800 diamonds and all that other stuff, and you can pick it up from the shop. Right, so we'll look at the upgrades at that as well when we get to that stage. Right, War and Peace. Damage to all enemies and give 2 attack to all allies. So damage to all is usually good unless the enemy can be submerged easily and they can just dodge it. And 2 attack is a very small increase, but it does have peaceful, which is handy. That silences the first enemy, which means they can't collect mana and they can't cast spells. So it is good in certain places. And next up we have, not going to go over all these ones that are here all the time. They'll be in my Soulforge extra video. We'll put a link to that in the description below. We have Stone Aegis. All allies gain magic +2 armor. Also, all allies gain 8 attack and 2 mana for every enemy barrier. So, if you're against one of those teams that's, say they've got Dawnbringer, when they cast this, all allies get barrier. Just say they got that. It's actually quite good against that kind of thing, because you get that boost. All allies gain 8 attack and 2 mana for every enemy barrier. So, against a team like that, you can actually benefit from that in a way. But it's still not ideal. But it's alright. It's better than a kick in the what's-its. Grudge Keeper. Deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by Cards allies, then create a mix of 6 red and brown gems for each Cards ally. And I just remembered I turned the sound down last night because I was playing the game last night and I had Spotify on and I forgot to put the sound back up, so let's do that. Right, that is now done. Will I finish with that? No, yes, wasn't. So then create a mix of 6 red and brown gems for each casual ally. But uses blue and yellow, creates red and brown. So you got to make sure you have at least a couple of red and or brown casual using allies in your team to benefit from that. Doomed sledge. I had a doomed sledge once. It was in the winter, going down a hill fast, and the side bit fell off and sent me into a hideous tumble into a bush. Anyway, deals heavy splash damage to an enemy with a +4 per tempering level boost, stun all brown enemies, cleanse all brown allies, explode 4 gems. If the enemy has a doom, explode 3 more. So a lot going on with that to make the most out of all those different things. But obviously very good. An all brown team against an all brown enemy. That'll happen in certain restrictions. So yeah, pretty decent in its own way, but not exactly essential. Hammer of Casual, kind of the anti-casual weapon in a way. Uses red but removes brown, which is what casual allies like the most, or casual troops like the most. Brown. Then deal magic based damage to an enemy boosted by gems removed. If the enemy is from casual, if the battle is in casual, deal double damage. So pretty specialist. Don't use them much, but they're one of them cheap weapons which only costs 75 diamonds, and it is handy for your kingdoms because you can get another kingdom leveled up if you have enough weapons fully leveled up from that kingdom, if that made any sense at all. Wand of Stars isn't in my Soulforge extra video because it came out after I made that video, but if you got the resources, you need to get this weapon. It's simply the best weapon in the game. Absolute filth. Create 6 elemental stars, bless all allies, or create 7 umbral stars and curse all enemies. So the option of bless and curse with some mad mana gen sometimes. It can backfire now and again, but most of the time, if you cast the correct option, then it can be absolutely awesome. But it can kick you in the teeth sometimes. Just letting you know. It's not perfect. Otherwise, it'd be too easy. It's already a bit broken. A lot broken. Very broken. Completely broken. But anyway, Council of Dragons creates 2 brown, green, red, and brown dragon gems and gains an extra turn. Sounds good on paper. I've tried it a few times. Didn't actually like it that much. Didn't seem to be quite as good as it sounded. But anyway, it's there. Underminer. Explode. Magic +1 brown gems. Grant a random status effect to all dwarf allies. Then summon a dwarf troop. So a nice explodey summoning weapon. Do like them. Very good. Mana gen. Status effects. Summon. Really good for newer players and even mid-level gaming players. Whoever they are. Anyway, Bonehammer. I say no more. I'm not going down that road. Deal a magic +3 damage to the first 2 enemies boosted by monster allies. So a Bonehammer damage with a bit of a boost. That is it. Alright, so nothing particularly amazingly essential there this week, so make sure you get Wand of Stars if you can. But let's take a look at the troops. Going to go over the Summoning Stones ones first. Let's take a look at these. Looking at anybody that's really good, like goblins, empowered troops. Remember Forest Troll? I used to love this in the early days. Still useful now, particularly against skull-based teams, because all you got to do is hit them with a skull to entangle that top troop, and then their skulls ain't going to do much damage at all. And it does have reduced damage from skulls by 33%. So I do like using this against a defense against skull teams sometimes. Just looking at that one, I didn't recognise that thing. Anyway, okay. Right, so let's have a quick gander. Oh, Sir Snothelm. One of the more underrated goblins for me. I'm telling you, if this was a weapon and it used 13 mana and it done damage to an enemy, webbed them, which reduces their magic to 0, significantly reducing their damage, entangled them, and gained an extra turn, you'd think it was an awesome weapon. But yeah, it's a goblin, 13 mana cost, and it's decent. Sir Snothelm is very underrated for me. Like him a lot. What else we got here? Anybody else? We've got another goblin. It's not as good as Snotface though. Converts 5 green gems to burning gems, which are red, and gains an extra turn. So yeah, it's alright, if nothing spectacular. And no one else fantastic there. Who's in the purple? Again, nothing too fabulous. Another goblin. Create 7 green gems, give magic-based life to a random ally, and gain an extra turn. yeah, so have a little look through there, especially if you're a newer player. Always good to pick up some of those handy troops through your summoning stones. Right, dragon on rotation is Garner Tarlin. So if you're still on the way to wanting to craft Diamantina, this is the last dragon you need, for example, you can get it today if you so desire. Doing damage to all enemies as well, boosted by brown gems. Convert 5 brown gems to brown giant gems with a double space thing, which is really annoying. And there was a 10% chance for an extra turn boosted by a brown gem. So yeah, the option is there if Garntalin is the last dragon you need for Diamantina. And trouble is, about Diamantina, I've actually, ever since I had Stellarix rather, I haven't actually used Diamantina. I'm not saying that Diamantina is entirely useless since Stellarix and Chrysanthrax came along, but there probably is certain situations where you may want to use Diamantina instead, but nothing springs to mind right now. But yes, anyway. All right, so who's the first mythic here? That is, oh, we got Ares. See, I think this is an underrated thing. A lot of people don't like this, but the strength of any mythic or boss is not just in the troop on its own, it's how good it works with other people. Zul'Goth, right? A lot of people rate Zul'Goth as like the best troop in the game, full stop. But he's rubbish on his own. Rubbish. First of all, he needs a load of mana cost, so he needs other people in the team to help him out getting charged quickly, like a Centurion, or just, you know, a high-level Thrall, something like that, to get him charged nice and fast. Otherwise, you can kill it easily with a boss killer, Godslayer, whatever you call them, and things like that. So Zul'Goth is only good when complemented by other troops. And a lot of people say this is rubbish because it doesn't seem that great on paper. But put this with the Empress in a construct team and this in last place, it's blinking awesome. That damage goes through the roof. If they die, which they often do because it hits so hard once you've charged it with or cast Empress's spell upon it, and it goes nuts for damage, explodes gems. I've wiped through enemy one at a time, dead, 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 by just repeat casting with this again and again in so many games. It is nuts. It's actually really good. Like I say, the strength of any mythic or any troop is only as good as the team it's in, not as they stand on their own. Hope that made a little bit of sense. Whereas Ares, actually, yeah, really good. Damage. If they die, explode 8 gems. Boost up that damage and it's absolutely lethal. And the traits aren't too shabby either. Right, so Ishtara, another good one. Again, not fantastic on its own because they do damage to all, but tons of troops do damage to all in this game. It does then create 9 yellow gems boosted by blessed allies. And it does have a 50% chance to bless a random ally when its turn begins, which is cool. As well as reduce damage from skulls, which is nice. Again, on its own, doesn't sound that amazing, but stick that with a Wand of Stars and cast that first option where you bless all allies, and that suddenly that creating 9 yellow gems into that somewhat unreliable zone becomes 13 yellow gems, which is very reliable, and it uses yellow and purple, which means on the second cast of Wand of Stars you can cast the second option, which is cursing the enemy, which would make impervious troops normal troops, as well as create stacks and stacks of yellow and purple. Which, look what Ishtara happens to use, yellow and purple. Yes, so again, not fantastic on its own, but complemented with the right team or weapon can become insanely good. So yeah, Ishtara, again, very good, but in the right team. Queen of Sin, she's not that good. She may be horny, or those 2 massive great horns, and it's got dangly bits from her what's-its. But anyway, does true damage to the first 2 enemies, summons Wrath or Lust, then blesses all Daemon allies. Not a very good mythic for me. Summons Succumb even. Enemies lose 4 from a random skill when an ally casts a spell. Yeah, reduce damage from spells by 25% and gain 1 magic when an ally casts a spell. I mean, she's not absolutely terrible. She's just not that great either for me. The World Breaker. Very, very good indeed. Explode 18 gems on the board and deal damage to all enemies. This is actually going to be quite a tricky one to actually decide who is the mythic of the week for me, because I actually do like the World Breaker, but I also like Ares and that as well. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a tricky one to actually decide what I think is the mythic of the week in a minute. But let's go over the... Ooh, look at these. Let's go over the legendaries quickly. Usually use Yao Guai as one of my demonstrations of legendaries that are really mythics. And Yao Guai is absolutely one of them. Absolutely amazing troop. Legendary apparently, but look at this spell. Does magic +2 damage to the first 2 enemies, boosted by his life at a 3-to-1 ratio. Then steal 4 magic from both enemies and transform all purple to red. And he uses red. So we can get charged up and do it again. And that hits so hard when you get his life boosted. It is absolutely nuts. Or if you're a higher level player that's got a lot of life. Damage goes absolutely nuts and is absolutely lethal. And even steals 3 life from the first enemy when matching 3 red gems. So you get red to get him charged and that boosts up the spell damage at the same time. Absolutely amazing. And even reflects 24% of skull damage. He's absolutely fantastic. Amazing troop. Just, you need to get Yao Guai today if you haven't got it. Even over other mythics, you need to get Yao Guai today. Artima. Explodes a row. Deals magic based damage to the 2 weakest enemies, boosted by ally centaurs. Yeah, reduce damage from skulls by 25%, 50% chance to ignore armor with skull damage, and 40% chance to dodge skull damage. Not that fantastic. Behemoth, not too bad. Damage to all enemies, destroy 12 gems, gain 10 life on 4 of 5 gem matches, as well as being impervious. Is not too shabby, but who is that? There's a 4th one somewhere. Where is it? Oh, there it is, the Guardian Dragon. Damage to all enemies and gain 5 armor. Gain 8 armor when matching red gems, and reduce damage from skulls by 30% is not too shabby. But definitely get Yao Guai today if you haven't got it already. But who is going to get my Mythic of the Week? It technically should be the World Breaker, I suppose. In theory, but it is a mega high mana cost for it, really. But I want a bit of me wants to be a little bit controversial and give it to either Ishtar or Ares, because Ares is so good in the right team. A lot of people just don't realise it. A lot of people just use it wrong, like I said. But the World Breaker is really good. Like, the cool thing about the World Breaker is it's really good if you're a newer player as well, because that explosion of 18 gems, you're going to get that even if you just started the game and happen to pick up this mythic. So it's fantastic for that. And the damage will just increase as you go up in level and achieve things and complete things in the game. So I am going to give the World Breaker my Mythic of the Week. And it's immune to Devour as well as gains 5 to a random skill on 4 or 5 gem matches. So yes, well done you, World Breaker. And now on to the Tower of Doom team. A huge range of options on this. I'll show a few different teams. No mythic option as well. But in any case, you must use the event weapon, the Doomed Sorcerel. Gives damage to an enemy with a +4 per temporary level boost. If they use brown mana, explode 3 random gems. If the enemy has a Doom, then gain a quarter of my mana back. The upgrades were nothing special, but I got them anyway. But you must use it in your team to make sure you get that times to score. Really, really important. But let's look at the team. I'll show a mythic option first, and then we'll go over some no mythic options as well and just look at other alternatives. A really way to go about this would be in mech class. In mech class, you get a 50% start in mana, which is really cool, and then means that Bork and Tina will all have a 50% mana start. You can just get brown, get yellow with Bork, cast Bork, destroy tons of gems, charge up Tina really easily, who do untold amounts of true damage to 3 random enemies and gain 150 armor. It's important you charge them both up if you can, unless you get a lucky skull hit or something to finish them off. So you can cast them both back to back without the first one mana blocking the second one. And we can use this as supplemental damage if it's required. Other options, if you don't have 2 Tinas, you can chuck in anybody else that does true damage to finish off the effect. Basilic is not a bad finisher if you've not got any mythics. Phoenix, really good choice. True damage to all. Summon if you need it as well as that nice Phoenix's Blessing, bless and enchant a random ally when I match 4 or more gems. That is pretty good. What else we got? No, don't like her that much. She's smelly. Yeah, Scourge of Honor, another good one. 50 true damage to all enemies. If you don't have Tinas at all, but you've got Scourge of Honor, That's another good way to go. Really, really good. Damage to all. Gain 2 mana back for each cursed or diseased enemy. And cursed and disease a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. Not bad shout at all. And a completely no mythic option would be to go with somebody like still could still use Bork and the weapon, but you'd be surprised how good Queen Zochi is in something like this. I mean, not as good as obviously what we're looking at now, but damage to all enemies, and if there's a storm, explode 5 gems. You can be in Stormcaller class to make sure there's a yellow storm all the time, which is really good. Not only does it mean there's a storm all the time, so when she does that damage, she'll just charge team up again. But with 2 of these, you can actually get things going pretty quickly, which is cool. There's a undead option as well. Let's change these to undead now. That'd be quick if we went from top to bottom. And what we got? So if you win the Ghost Queen, you can have the Ghost Queen up top. I'm thinking this is on top of my head. I'm just making it up as I go along. But yeah, you can have the Ghost Queen up top, put her up top in this case. This is important because you don't want her being the first one to die. She's only there mainly for that undead ally. Start with 50% mana, but if you get to cast her, then that is pretty useful. But you could then go the Grey King, destroying all gems of a chosen colour with full effect. All enemies of that colour take magic-based true damage and are mana drained, silenced, and frozen. That is really, really handy in the Tower of Doom, and you can back that up with Morthani's Darkness, stealing life from 4 random enemies, and has a summon as well. So stealing life is like true damage because you're taking it away from them and giving it to yourself. And you have a summon as well. That's why you'd have the Ghost Queen up top. You don't mind losing her because when you cast Morthani's Darkness, you summon someone back in. So that'd be a way to go with it as well. So yes, and make sure you're in an undead class for that, of course. But I'm going to roll with this team here. I'm going to go with not that. I haven't picked my banner yet, clearly. I don't use purple in this one. So what we got? We want lots of brown, that's for certain. Brown and yellow's not bad. Brown and red's even better. Not going to have any trouble getting Bork ready. So yeah, I think that is going to be pretty cool. And a Mechanist class for this one. All mechs start with 50% mana. Serendipity, that one doesn't matter. Vanguard is cool. Tactician is cool. Savior is handy. Hope we don't need it though. We can have all allies gain 1 magic if you want to guarantee the benefit. Tree of Knowledge, gain enchantment matching green gems, which we do to charge up our Tina. The spell can be handy though in armor plating. So yeah, and roll with this one. But like I say, if you don't have Tinas, you can chuck in some Queen Zochis. That will be a good one as well to get things going, but make sure you're in Stormcaller class to benefit from the explosion every time. But yeah, we are nearly ready already, Eddie. He says, having none of the colours I want actually there. What the heck? So, Bork will charge the team up. We killed someone already. That means Tina will finish off. 3 times a nice medal for this. Make sure you get the damage boost up. Right, where are we going next? I've got to bring up the Tower of Doom map. You should always have a scout or 2, checking out all the rooms and noting down and telling the guild where the useful rooms are. Right, so we have a unlock scroll in the 4th room, that one. Let's go in there then. We'll get that. We'll go along our way. And then we'll probably jump forward a bit because so far this is a little bit too easy. Like we can, don't do Tina straight away. When you've got a skull hit in this instance, just do it. And then she'll finish off. Oh, that's a bit cheeky. Haha. Right, let's do the boss room and we'll skip forward a bit to a high level. There'll be a time when basically you need to charge both Tinas up first, back to back, and make sure you cast them one after the other. No skull hits there, so we can do that first. Let's charge team up. That's going to get Tina ready again. Look. Bingo bango. Jumped forward to floor 10. The unlocked scroll is in the 3rd room here. Let's pop into it then. This stage, depending upon your level, of course, it's important to just cast the Tinas back to back. So make sure you get them both charged up first. Happens really easy in this team, like Bork got charged automatically then. Really cool. There we go. There's the first Tina. There comes the second one. And the job is done and Bork was ready to get in to charge the team up. Let's do the Doom of Flame. It will be dismissed with the greatest of ease. There you go. It's so easy. It's just nuts. And of course, the more your guild does as well, regarding the Tower of Doom and the boons you get and the bonuses you get and the increases in stats you get, it's going to just make it even easier for excuse me, Tina, as things go on. Right, room 11, let's make this the last one. Floor 11. Got a lug scroll in this one. Always important to have a scout or two noting down the best rooms with all the important stuff in it. Got a Tower of Doom guide. Put that in the link in the description below as well. And don't forget to check out my AI Oracle new channel. Really cool. Completely, all choices are made by the AI. And it talks about some really intriguing stuff. Again, link in the description below. So that was that room. So we've got an unlock scroll in the next one. And then we'll record a video a day, I think. It's pretty clear how this works. Like I say, other options at the beginning of this section. Different ways to go about it. Just make sure in this instance here you get both Tinas up first, cast them both back to back. And kaboosh them all out of there. Right, let's do the boss room. That'll do for the Tower of Doom section. Very straightforward. Oh, it's nice red and green there till it got vaguely spoilt by the potion of explosion, but both Tinas got up anyway, which is really useful because if we don't finish off or they get a summon, then Bork was ready to cast again. Really cool. Like I say, if you don't have any mythics, you can go 2 times Queen Xochi. Instead, just make sure you're in Stormcaller class to make the non-stop storm a really useful thing for her spell, because then she explodes gems as well and just repeats the cast. But there it is. That's the Tower of Doom team. Right, now onto the Underspire team. Fairly easy team to use this one and pretty much works by itself. We are restricted to casual troops from this. Gonna go with a fun little team. Dwarven Gate, Rock Troll, the Empress, and War and Peace is the weapon. The weapon does damage to all enemies and gives 2 attack to all allies. And does have Peaceful as one of its upgrades as well, which is going to silence the first enemy, making them so they can't actually collect mana or cast spells, which is really, really useful. And it is the only weapon, or the only troop rather, in this team that uses brown. So when we cast Rock Troll, which doubles the number of brown on the board and creates 3 brown gems, all of that will feed straight into our weapon. And it is immune to Devour and does have Knockout as well, which inflicts stun when doing skull damage and reduces damage from skulls by 50%. So this is viable in first place as well. You can change them around if you preferred. Dwarven Gate, pretty tanky as well. Reduced damage from skulls by 50%. Gains magic +3 armor, boosted by dwarves. Don't really care about that though, but the armor is a nice little boost. And then all other allies gain barrier and 5 mana. That 5 mana, really important because we're in Geomancer as well, getting a 50% start on our construct troops. So we'll have 8 of that already. And if you get blue at the beginning, you're going to be like nearly ready to cast straight away when you cast the Dwarven Gate. And when you need the extra power from War and Peace for that damage to all, you can just cast Empress. Magic +1 to all skills on the last ally with a 7% chance of an extra turn per each green gem on the board. So like I say, class for this be a Geomancer. Really, really cool. All constructs start with 50% mana. And we can have stuff like Serendipity. We can have, I don't think this one actually, oh, we can have Mage Lord. We're in last place. Anti-Magic Sphere is good. Tactician is good. We don't need Dex, we've got it anyway. Rock Solid is fine. And we can have probably Retrieve Knowledge is good because we get that for Enchantress. And then we'll be ready to go in no time at all. Oh, this is going to work rather nicely, I think. Pax Banner is good for this. +2 green, +1 brown, -1 yellow, but it is a warband banner, so not everybody will have that. But if you can, pick something with minus yellow, because it's the only colour we don't use. But apart from that, make sure you get a nice little quick load of green, or potentially blue, or red, or purple. Your choice. Well, let's jump in then, so show how this works. It should be really easy. If we get green, that'll get things fired up really nice and fast, because not only do we get the Empress ready, but we're enchanted on War and Peace now, so basically that'll be ready in a couple of rounds anyway. In fact, it's ready now, and we can just cast away. Kaboosh them all out of there, and that'll be the job done. And obviously Empress was ready as well, so that means as things get more tricky in this, we can cast the Empress first, getting a nice damage boost. Let's get our lantern from green face, red eye, nose, ear, belt, gem, hat, Mr. T wannabe. Yeah. Right, next battle. I think this is going to be quite simple for this team. And tanky too. Alright, let's grab some blue then, being as though we haven't got any other stuff. But like I say, like this, 5 mana, look, it's gone straight onto War and Peace, which means we're going to need a little bit of brown now to get done, and again, done. That 50% mana start and the Dwarven Gate, really helping us out. And if you don't get blue for Dwarven Gate, you can get red or purple for Rock Troll and create loads of brown anyway. It will not be denied. Let's get green for them too. That gives the enchant on War and Peace, as well as the boost on green into Empress. So just to show how this works, we've got 73 damage to all enemies at the moment. Let's cast Empress first. It's gone up to 131. Huge boost. That will depend upon your magic though, so yeah. Very cool indeed. Have we got any brown? No, of course not. We're ready next round anyway, but that 5 mana to everyone is really cool. Alright, let's do a couple more. Nice cool team this one, I quite like this. Don't mind these restriction things sometimes, when basically it can make you come up with something like a little bit better or a little bit different to what we usually go for. Didn't have to cast Empress then, just done it for laughs really. Made me chuckle. A little bit. Couldn't see it, but I did. I think. Maybe it's more of a sneaky smirk than a chuckle. We'll have that. Thank you kindly. We'll have that brown and blue at the same time. Hunky dory. There's no need to actually risk that on Rock Troll. We can just cast this and guarantee the extra 5 mana for War and Peace. Really cool. I quite like this team. Right, the last one. Let's whack old Dockle Far face out of it. Still don't need a boost. Oh, we got webbed though. That's annoying. That will slow it down somewhat. You git bag. Look at that. No damage now. So that is a slight flaw in this team. So what I would suggest then maybe is, because we don't really need this Rock Troll, I'd maybe swap that out for another damage dealer. So I didn't expect that. We could go 3 lots of Medals of Orpheus as well. That would do the job. Oh, how annoying. Let's do that anyway. Oh, we got recovered. Good. Right. So yeah, possibly swap Rock Troll for another damage dealer. But if it uses green, then obviously try and avoid green if you can, because you want the green to go to Empress and War and Peace. But there it is. There's the video. If you enjoyed it, it'd be really cool if you bashed that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.